And we're live.
I stole this kid's hearing aid one
Jesus,
time.
Kyle.
No,
keep going. This is 3 weeks ago.
This was last.
right. It was sitting right next to his prosthetic leg.
No, I just plucked it
Holds
right
it up
over
like
here.
a fish.
That stupid war veteran, his rascal was too slow. He couldn't even keep up. I knocked his 2 liters out of his cart to distract him. Don't mind me, sir. I am commandeering this. I'm an FBI federal agent. I need to tap into the comps.
I have the device.
Give me some chicken nuggets.
I was 5. I was 5 years old. But you know, I want to say that like something had happened to it. So she had taken it out of her ear and put it on the teacher's desk for whatever reason. And this is 1990 or 1991. So they were not the size of a pea. They were like the size of a fucking walkie-talkie that fit on your head. And it looked cool, right? It looked like some technology. So I snatched that thing up, and a teacher caught me in the lunchroom using it like a ray gun, going pew pew pew. She's like, "What is that?" And I'm just like,
meanwhile, you're just touching old woman earwax.
No, it was a child's hearing aid.
Oh,
it's even worse than you thought. Yeah.
That's even meaner.
Why did he have it out of his ear? Did you explain that?
I don't know, because like I'm just imagining that maybe the battery died, or like it was hurting him, or it fell out, and like the teacher was hanging on to it for safekeeping for some reason. That's all I can imagine at this point in my
did
life.
someone take your hearing aid? What?
What? But I'm just sitting there at the fucking lunch table playing with something like a pew pew pew. I stole things a lot as a 5-year-old. Like I was all. I just remember one time, like you remember slap bracelets?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I stole somebody's slap bracelets. I'm at home, like I'm at home going slap, putting that thing on my wrist, and I just remember my mom being like, "Where did you get that?" And it's being like, "Found it, found it. Where'd you find it?" I don't know, in somebody else's backpack, I guess. You know,
Oh, Jesus.
did a little scrounging today, and I came up with it. Yeah, I was a real thief.
Raids where you stole things.
I just stole things. You know, if anything was laying out or nobody was looking, you know, I was going to snatch it up. I didn't know any better. I was 5.
I remember I had a friend over once when I was probably 6 or 7, very young. And this was, it would have been like I was 7 or so, because me and my buddy were both playing Pokemon Red, or I had red and blue. He only had red. And he was jealous because I was able to like use my brothers to trade like the different, because they were proprietary, you know, Pokemon that only existed in certain ones, whatever.
Oh, but you could like trade from like one little thing to the other.
Yeah.
And, like get the blues onto the red device.
Yeah. So like I had red version and I was playing, and my brother had blue version. So it'd be like, all right, well, we got to make I got to make my Haunter evolve into Gengar, which means I got to trade it to you, and then you trade it back. And then also I'll give you something, whatever. But
Haunter evolves into Gishu. You don't know your Pokemon.
No.
I don't know.
Gengar. It's definitely Gengar.
Yeah.
But
I was really hoping that was true.
No.
I would have questions at that point for Woody, though.
I know it like back of my hand. But I was basically, we were playing, and then as happens, his parents show up, time to go home, and I'm a kid. I'm not paying attention to like his body language or anything. But the way my dad tells me is he's like, yeah. And then I watched you walk up the stairs to say goodbye to your friend. And then I saw him come up with only the front part of his pants tucked in, front part of his shirt tucked into his sweatpants. And then like clearly like something under his shirt. And like, I didn't notice. And before the kid left, my dad was like, hey, Chris, you got something under your shirt there? Do you have something under your shirt, Chris? Can I just see what that is? And the kid like, and then cling, 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 what dropped out was my Pokemon Blue. And I was like, I was really mad about that. It was my first time at 7 being like, oh, I've heard about stealing. Like, I knew this was a thing. Sometimes people take things that don't belong to them, and I almost got. Yeah. He was going to take that, and then he was going to trade my good Pokemon off of it, I bet, and then pretend he found it later.
Ooh.
Bastard. Never traded with him again.
My best friend stole from me. So we were, call it 15 or 16. And I had a jet ski, and something went wrong with my car. Oh, I over-tightened the airbox in the carburetor and caused it to crack. So I took the opportunity to upgrade for a carburetor designed for a better jet ski. And, he worked at the jet ski repair place, and I get it. My jet ski runs again. Everything's cool. I'm even wondering if it runs better than before. Can't tell much of a difference, but whatever. It turns out he took my enhanced carburetor and put it on his own ski and gave me his used one, which was the same as mine.
Bastard.
He calls me and he's like, Woody, you know that 550 carburetor you had and you put on the 440? Turns out the 440 doesn't run well if you put a 550 carb on it. I gave you my old one and now I want it back. And it was like, so you stole the carburetor that we thought was better. Turns out not better. Now you're coming clean and you want your old one back. And I forget the details of how it worked out, but I told him no to go fuck himself. Like, if you're going to steal from me, I'm not going to like now take the carb that nobody wants because it doesn't fit our skis. And I forget how he convinced me to make the deal, but he did. Like,
Bastard. He must have been sly.
I got fucked in the thing and it sucked. And I don't know.
So you had to buy a new one after all that.
Yeah.
Right?
I had to buy a second carburetor that did work for my jet ski.
You guys and your ocean problems.
And I dumped him as a friend. But
Good.
He was a toxic friend who I took on and off multiple times. I wasn't smart about that. It was a big learning experience for me. But
what did he get you with prior to that? Just being kind of a cunt?
I was late to puberty and he was early. And not only was he early, he's just a big, strong guy. Even in adulthood, he's way stronger than I am now. And he'd be like super sweet to me and then kind of bully me sometimes. And I'd be like, fuck it, I'm out. And then 2 months later, he managed to like apologize. It's almost like these women in abusive relationships who are like, oh, you don't know the good side of him, how fun it can be. And I have like empathy for how someone could make these bad relationship decisions because I did as a teenager.
Yeah, it is that, like that battered woman syndrome.
Yeah.
Or it's like almost like a sunk cost thing too, where it's like, well, I've put up with so much shit from this person, like I'm just gonna cut it all away. But then it's like I went up through all that shit for nothing. Like I can see how that is too.
He'd come back like this enhanced version of himself. Like, hey, while we weren't hanging out, I learned all this about computers or the internet or something. And, check it out. And it's like, holy shit, this is so cool. And, like I get sucked back in. Or, the jet ski was an example. Like, hey, while we weren't hanging out, I spent the summer working at a jet ski place and now I have one and, we should hang. And it's like, yeah, you're right. There aren't that many people to jet ski with and we both have one. Like, let's go. And it was just always something where I'd get lured back into this new activity. And of course he'd be so sweet and great. And it's not unlike a battered woman thing. So as dumb as you may be for falling for it, I see it. I get it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the time I've like broken up with a friend, which for a guy, usually the way that goes for me at least is just you stop talking to them.